I think we changed the voice of the inner critic to that of an inner champion. That is the voice that we all long to hear. And it's the voice that has our own back. And it's the voice that says, go for it, do it, try it. I believe in you. So let's see what you're made of. I will make your dreams a reality. You can count on me. I have your back. Go out there, try something. And when you fail, or if you fail, I will be here to pick you up. It's that kind of voice.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Coachful Coaching Leadership Podcast. Folks, today I am back on the podcast with Susanne Biro. Is that right, Susanne? Is it Biro?
Perfectly said.
But Susanne Biro is an executive coach to CEO, C-suite, senior leaders. You have over 2 decades of international experience. You're the founder of Inner Life Leadership. You founded that. It's an app, right? Is that correct?
Right. Yep.
Yep. And you did a TEDx talk a few years ago. I remember it was called Lessons Learned in a Barbershop. Is that correct?
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay. We needed to dig more into that. And look, Susanne, I'm going to do you justice. I'm going to hand it over to you to do the rest of the introduction of who you are. What have you been doing?
Sure. Gosh, what have I been doing? 24 years, I've spent most of my time listening to very successful men and women in organizations, all different industries, many different parts of the world, helping them, I think, trust and act on what it is they know more than they currently allow themselves to, helping them sort through all the information coming at them. I think leadership is incredibly demanding. There's just so much information coming at us. And so I give them a time to think clearly, focus themselves, and act on what it is they know so that they can be ever more effective out in the world. So that's primarily what I've been doing.
Yeah. So off camera, you mentioned you focus and help a lot of people on mindset, and you talk a lot about mindset and focus on that. What are some of the mindsets that you see out there that are often, I guess, holding people back?
Yeah, I love that you focus on mindset in your podcast, because as we were just talking about, I don't think it's important. I think it's everything. And it's not just a particular mindset that we will foster. It is, are we aware of where we are placing our most precious commodity, which is our inner attention? Like, what are we thinking on most days, and how are those thoughts causing us to feel? Because those 2 simple things become our entire world. How I think, how I feel leads to what I then believe are choices or possibilities for me, myself, my team, my family, and then what I choose to do and the results that I get. I don't think there's anything more important than bringing greater awareness to how am I thinking, what am I thinking about, and what am I giving most of my internal attention, because that will be the quality of life I experience today, and it will also create the future that I will live in tomorrow. So I don't think there's nothing more important, and it's so subtle and intangible because we take our thoughts as reality. And we think, well, this is just the way the world is. But we know that's not true, because we can experience an event and watch someone make different choices than us, given that they must be thinking differently. Those thoughts must lead to different feelings. And then that leads to different actions, and they get different and sometimes better results. And we think, well, I want what they have. Okay, well, they're thinking differently than you.
Yeah. There's certainly an inner dialogue people have about, or the inner critic, as some people might call it. I've talked a lot about that on this podcast too, how there's always this little voice above your shoulder saying, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. But I guess like when I talk to people about it, on one hand, it is that voice that might drive them towards doing greater things. But a lot of people I talk to say it's also the thing that holds them back. And learning to talk with that inner dialogue or inner critic is important. And I'm curious, like, what's your perspective on that inner dialogue and how you talk to yourself?
Yeah, I think it is, the inner critic is never all that useful. We can certainly beat the mule by berating ourselves in various ways, subtle, not subtle, to accomplish things, but it will never lead to a great life, and it never leads to peace, which is something I think we're all after at some point in our life. We want peace, and we want fulfillment, and we want joy, and we can never beat ourselves up enough to feel that way. What happens is we just create a relationship with all of life that we don't really want, and we rehearse it. I think we change the voice of the inner critic to that of an inner champion that is the voice that we all long to hear. And it's the voice that has our own back. And it's the voice that says, go for it, do it, try it. I believe in you. Let's see what you're made of. I will make your dreams a reality. You can count on me. I have your back. Go out there, try something. And when you fail, or if you fail, I will be here to pick you up. It's that kind of voice. So I don't think we ever really achieve any version of success by inner critic. We can accomplish things and maybe be successful in the eyes of the world, but it never leads to the kind of real success that we're seeking. And this is such, intangible work, this inside work of the ways that many of us speak to us is just in a terrible way. And it takes some awareness, it takes effort, it takes consistency of continually to just be gracious and kind and encouraging to ourselves. And then I believe it leads to every kind of success we want. We will take more risks because we know that at the end of the day, if it goes sideways, at least we're going to be there to say, I'm so proud that you tried. Most people don't even try these things, and you tried and it blew up in your face, but you're still here and it hurt like hell, but you're okay. Keep going. And that's the kind of voice that will lead to all kinds of success. But in my experience, it's not one that we foster as a society. It's not one many of us were raised with. It's not one that many really seasoned and experienced leaders are practiced in doing, but I believe it is required if we are to really lead well and to have the ability to enjoy our lives.
You mentioned the word success a few times in the last minute. Do you think people should be thinking about success more as a destination or a process or a journey? Like, I'm wondering how you view what success should be viewed as.
Yeah, great question. I think it's Maya Angelou's definition. Like, success is liking what you do, how you do it, and who you do it with. I think it's about becoming most fully ourselves, the kind of person that we're proud of, chasing dreams that we have, like listening to that inkling of like, man, I just, when we see it, when we envy other people, I would love that kind of, health, that level of health, those opportunities. I would love an opportunity like that. I would love to live like that person lives, or to accomplish this, or to be able to help people in the way I see that organization doing. And so I think we feel called to it, and success is that we go after our own dreams, and do it in a way that makes ourselves proud. Like, quietly, we wake up in the morning, we look ourselves in the mirror, and it's like, I love who you are, and I love who you're trying to be, and you don't get it always right. But I love that you're really trying and doing things that matter to you to make the world better. I think that's success.
I heard someone say recently that if you want to be happy, it's not about avoiding things that are sad. It's about experiencing both the happy and the sad. But knowing that the happy won't last, and knowing that the sad won't last either.
Mm-hmm.
When I say that, how's that land with you when I say that to you?
Well, I think the truth is we're in this human experience that is an immensely painful experience. I don't know about you, but I mean, being a human is not for the faint of heart. We know, every single one of us know from a very early age, we are going to grow old and die, and everyone we know will get sick or die. We will at some point have to say goodbye. I mean, it's a gig that's not rigged in our favor. And so it comes with a whole bunch of feelings. And it's not just, happy or sad. The complexity is incredible. And it's any one thing that occurs, we are both happy and sad. I mean, we might be excited to be getting married, but some part of us is sad of letting go of, a single life we once knew. And so it's all of these things all of the time. So I think that's just the human journey. I think it's very painful to be human. I think it's incredible how hard we work to make this existence beautiful. And we keep getting up every time we fall, just like a baby learning to walk. But it's hard. It's a hard journey.
Hard. And I wonder when you've talked about the dichotomies there, right? The polar opposites, I'm getting married, but man, I used to be single, or vice versa. I was married and now I'm single. Acceptance. If you accept that you're going to live, you're going to die. If you accept that one day someone's here and the next day they're not here. Things are fleeting. Nothing's permanent. I guess when you talk to people, I'm getting very philosophical now, right? But acceptance of things, acceptance of situations, acceptance. How do you see that coming into how people lead, how they need to show up in order to help others do better in their jobs and do better in their lives?
Yeah. I think that what we're all on a journey to is self-acceptance, meaning, can I accept myself in all my humanity? And when we get that, I think then we change that voice of inner critic to inner champion. Like there was John Stewart, one of my favorite books is called Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. And in the beginning of the book, he has an example with John Stewart where he shows these new newspaper clip headings. And it said, Japanese scientists discovered that when a robot that now can recognize its own image in a mirror. And then he said, once that robot learns to hate what it sees, it will have achieved full humanity. I think it's so telling. Most of us, we're not very kind towards this human experience, and we can't accept it. We're usually in a body that it's not the body we would have chosen. We want things to be different. We want it to run faster. I always wanted to fly. Why can't I fly? I'm trapped in this thing and I'm bound by time. And it's very limiting. And I think a lot of us feel that. But I think if we can come to accept who we are, and this is, the work that we do in coaching is really knowing, who am I as a leader? How do I want to lead? Who do I want to be? What's the vision, mission, values? What's the values that I hold near and dear? And how do I want to be for this group of people and to unite them to achieve something spectacular together? But it comes with understanding, what am I really good at? And what am I really not so good at? I'm just not, we're only good at a couple things, each of us, and we're really bad at everything else. And when we come to that realization, I think we can show it more authentically. We can connect with other people. We can pay attention to who's where and how do I unite these people? How do I bring my gifts and talents forward, and then rely on others to bring their gifts and talents forward, because none of us know all the answers and we need other people. If we're going to do anything big, none of us do it alone. So I think self-acceptance is what we're looking for.
So Susanne, just turning more towards you, what's your mission? What are you trying to achieve?
The mission that I've had, I felt this even as a really young child in preschool, is I want to help people stop hurting so much. Everywhere I looked, from when I was in preschool, I would see someone sitting in the corner by themselves, and I would go and take my lunch over there to sit with them. I just never wanted them to feel alone. In high school, I would, again, go to the person in the corner who wasn't engaging with everyone else and befriend them. I see people often hurting, and I feel their emotions. Like they want to be something more than they think they are. They want to accomplish something more. They want to be recognized and validated. I mean, we all want to be loved the way no one can love. And so coaching is one way for me to sit with another human being, albeit a very, very successful human being, and be a witness to them and to help them to feel human again, because the role at the top is relentless, daunting, and it's one of just giving. Everyone's looking to them for direction, approval, coaching, validation. And very few people are doing that for them. They're not seen anymore, especially if they're famous in some regard. Everyone's like, can I get a selfie with you? Can I, some place for them to be human again, to be witnessed, and to remember that they're a human being with a very big role, trying to accomplish something. And they need someone that sits with them in their humanity too.
So when you talk to high achievers, people who've accomplished a lot, at least externally, we might think, what else do you need, right? I guess, how do you help them find they need some validation. They need some humanity, as you say, right? I guess, how do you help them find that?
I don't think it's that they need to find something that exists somewhere else. I think they feel it in a moment where they have one relationship that could be all about them, where someone's not trying to get something from them. We have spouses, we have friends, but it's usually, as sort of a back and forth relationship. Where do we go where we have one relationship where the airtime and the focus can simply be on us, how we're doing, how we're really feeling? I mean, we might be achieving in the eyes of the world, and yet we feel more lost or depleted than ever. And for someone else to just have a place where we can actually talk freely is in and of itself incredibly therapeutic and important to human beings. But when we see very successful people, we think they don't need anything. Well, they're doing so fine. They're doing well. What could they possibly need? Well, they're still a human being, often carrying an incredible load. And it's really nice to just sit with another human being where you can talk freely, uncover things that are concerning you or frustrating you or are confusing to you, and just pick it apart and just feel like a human being again. So there's nothing really more to find other than coaching is not something we do. It's who we are when we sit with another human being.
Yeah.
And it's a feeling.
Yeah. You mentioned like part of your mission is helping people who are hurting. I guess what's significant? What is it about people hurting that has drawn you to helping them?
Yeah. Well, maybe we define hurting a little bit. I think it's, there's just so many bad feelings in a human life from, grief, loss, confusion, any kind of hurt in relationships. And we're all so easily hurt. Say your question again for me.
Yeah. You said like your mission is to help people who are hurting, if I remember that correctly. What drew you towards that? Helping people who are hurting.
Yeah. I think I know what it is to feel small, to feel less than. I've always felt like I'm the odd sort of kid in the corner myself. I've always been so in awe of other people. I see beauty everywhere I go, even as a small child, and I admire it greatly. And so what I did early on growing up without any awareness was I would always place other people as so much better than who I was. And maybe some of your listeners do that too. Like, look at how beautiful, physically beautiful that person is. And look at how talented that person. I mean, that person can run faster than anyone on the playground. Look at the incredible art that person can create. I can't do anything like that. And so I always somewhat felt less than. And then I started to act that way and feel like, that I am that way. And so I'd sort of cower in the corner. And it wasn't only through my own development work by studying psychology and starting to understand what was I thinking, what was I placing on my, and what was I starting to identify with, and then started to change that of, no, wait a second, from this place of feeling small and less than, I can be really helpful to other people because I know what it feels like to feel that way. And the great gift that I have is that I see beauty in everyone. I mean, there isn't a person I can meet that I don't generally fall in love with because of how beautiful they are and how much they're, trying in their human life to become better, to contribute in some meaningful way, whether that's raising children or creating some kind of art or, through their work and the technology that they develop. I think it's both, it just comes from how I have felt and then turning that around because I see the same pain in other people.
And I appreciate that. I mean, I think I know you very well now. I've known you for the last 30 minutes now.
Yeah.
But very honestly, I'll tell you on air right now, like my impression is that I could see that you really feel what the other person's feeling. Like when we first logged on, it's like, okay, this wasn't working. That wasn't working on my computer. I'm on a new computer. I'm going to Zoom. I'm not used to Zoom. And you're like, it's okay, Dave, it's okay. Do you need help? I can help you. I already noticed that already, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've had other people are kind of like, all right, just let me know when you're done, right? So I appreciate that. But it appears like you really care. You really care about the well-being of others. And you sort of talked about that in your TEDx talk a few years ago, where it was about lessons learned in a barbershop, where I believe you said your mom was a barber. And one of the things she said was, make sure you learn this trade because, and I'm going to laugh at this because my parents said something like this was, if there's wartime, is anything, the war goes to hell, everyone needs a haircut, right?
Yes.
Yes. And it's funny, but talk more about that. You talked a lot about caring for people and learning about people, understanding people, and you learned that in the barbershop.
Yeah. Well, I'm so curious to hear what your parents said to you. What was it?
It was, good God. They tried to push me into the trades early on when I was younger. And it had to do with, I think it was carpentry or something. I can't remember what it was. For the life of me right now, I can't remember what it was, but it was very much that thing like, hey, just just know like we will always need people to do this. Yeah. Right. No matter what happens. Right. And offline, I'll probably remember. I cannot remember exactly what it was right now.
Okay.
I'm going to say electrician, but I'm like, no, hold on. That doesn't make sense. They've pushed me in many directions early on in my life. They had a good heart. They wanted the best for me, but I knew that I would not love anything that they were pushing towards me.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, my parents immigrated from Europe in 66 and they were both blue collar workers and they weren't sure that a university was going to pay, university degree was going to pay off.
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, just in case you got to have a trade behind you. But, I learned more in the barbershop than 10, I feel like I learned in my 10 years of formal education to do what I do.
Yeah. School doesn't teach that much about life. It teaches you how to study, how to find things. I have a master's degree. So I'm one to speak, but it doesn't really teach you about life, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it can because I think the social aspect of university is incredible, but business is filled with people. So in the barbershop, it was just, my mother was an impeccable businesswoman. Every time someone came in the shop, her number one rule is everyone has to say hi. So it was, she had my sister working there, my grandfather working there, me and one other barber. And that was her dream to have 4 chairs working. And it was like Cheers, the show.
Everyone knew everyone.
Everyone knows your name. As soon as you come in, acknowledge people, look at them, see them, and know who they are. And it was just that feeling of caring for human beings. And it's not a new thing. Who said, people forget what you said, they'll forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is the difference that makes the difference in business. And it will become even more important with AI. And as technology starts to take over so many jobs, what will make you stand out is people want a human connection. And they want to know that you generally care about their success as much as you might care about your own. And so it's really, just generally care about other human beings. It's so easy to do. Want their success, work for it, see how you can be helpful. And then the things that we care most about come to us and sort of flood to us in ways that will just constantly surprise me, that it kind of brings tears to my eyes. It's like you can't help anyone without all this stuff coming back. It's unbelievable. Yeah. That was what the talk was about, just generally caring about people.
All right. So now it's like you're on to a different mission right now. You recently wrote a book and it's coming out soon. What's this book about?
Yeah, this book is called This Could Be Everything for anyone who wants to make their tomorrow better than today. And it is essentially the big ideas and insights that I've shared with clients and the roadmap of development that I've taken every client I've ever worked with through over the last 24 years. 3 years to write, 24 years experience. My business mentor just read it in under 2 days. It'll be available in about a month's time. And it is just for anyone who wants to feel better, communicate better, have better relationships, and lead better.
So last couple questions for you, Susanne. One of them is one piece of advice if you had to give to a younger version of yourself. What advice would you give to yourself?
I know what the advice is. I'm just going to take a second to see how I might best phrase it. It might be something along the lines of, you are so beautiful. Go and make your dreams come true. Something along those lines. And by beautiful, I mean in your humanity, you're beautiful. And so that same phrase could be adopted by any human being. Is, gosh, if you only knew how beautiful that who you are is. And then act from there.
And if she asked you, what do you mean? What would you say?
Would know.
Oh, she would know? Okay. So I have a closing tradition and I ask every single person the same question and I make every single person squirm with this last question. And the final question I have for you is, what's one question I should have asked you, but I haven't?
What question you should have asked me? That's a really good question. Maybe what is the hardest part of life for you?
What is the hardest part of life for you?
Yeah, now you're going to make me answer. Yeah, it is living without my mom and dad. They died my mom almost 20 years ago. She was my best friend, biggest champion. And if you have ever lost someone that you loved dearly, that you could never imagine living without, the world is just never the same. I'm always half sad, And I've come to accept that. Not in a bad way. It's just the price of loving someone. So there it is.
Acceptance of that. Yeah. That's beautiful, Susanne. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, David. You're a wonderful, gracious interviewer.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for making the time today. And thank you for working through with me using this platform today. And thank you to all the listeners out there who are listening. And hopefully you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, rate this, leave a comment, and we'll be back in a week or two with our next episode. Ciao. That's a wrap on this episode of the Coachful Coaching Leadership Podcast. I'm David Fung, and my mission is to help leaders grow, lead with impact, and build thriving teams. If you found this valuable, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow leader. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.